Hey guys, Mike Evans. Just got done with class. I figured I'd shoot off a quick video before I head home. Just waiting for a couple things to wrap up here. Really quickly, I just wanted to talk a little bit about connecting with students. Now, there's been a lot of stuff in the group about different ways we can connect. Things like, getting down to their level so that we can look them in the eye, making sure that we acknowledge their feelings, all these different ways. And you can search through the group. There's some really great reading, especially stuff put out by Melody. But when we think about connecting, I want you to think a little bit deeper about what the child really needs from you, because that's what connecting is. It's not just, oh, hey, I'm going to come over and make a physical contact with you. It's really about fulfilling that child's needs, being the one that's there to be the fulfiller, right? And that's what gets us that connection. So I want to talk a little bit about this gentleman named Abraham Maslow, and he was a psychologist back in the 30s and 40s. And in the 40s, he came up with this theory called the hierarchy of needs. And he related it to psychology, but it's actually become very prominent, especially in the United States, in early childhood development. And we're talking like even preschool ages, before they even make it into our public schools. Now, just as a, to balance things out, this theory has been debated and picked apart, and, people disagree with it, and they say it's culturally biased. And if we were going to be psychologists, this would all be relevant. But taking this for what it is, as child martial arts instructors, as developmental experts for children, this becomes very relevant. So I want you to picture the food pyramid. We've all seen it. I know some of you are probably watching from other countries. I'm sure you guys have something similar. Just picture a pyramid, right? On the bottom is the really big things, and at the top is the things that are really narrow. So if you think about the food pyramid, we should be eating lots of healthy fruits and vegetables and grains, and at the top is that chocolate bar, right? We should be having a little bit of that. So how does this relate to connecting with our students or with even our own children? So according to Maslow, he really breaks down the needs of a child or an individual into three major subsections. The first one is like your most basic needs. That's the stuff at the bottom of that pyramid, is your most basic needs. And he says that unless we can fulfill those needs at the bottom, there is no way we will be able to make enough of a connection to interact with the next level of needs. So what are the basic needs? And he breaks these further down into two levels. And at the very bottom, he talks about, hold on, the word won't come to me. Sorry, physiological. He talks about the physiological needs. So what does a child need to survive? Well, they need food, they need water, they need sleep, they need to be comfortable, clothing, heat in their house or air conditioning, depending on where they're living. And if you think, especially if you teach younger students, like we teach down to 18 months old, we've all had that child come in that's fresh out of a nap. Mom carries him in, sleeping on the shoulder, pulls him down off the shoulder and says, all right, now go into class. That kid is a cranky little ragamuffin. How hard is it to get that child engaged in what you're doing? And by the time you do, class is almost over. And now you've lost any connection that you might have had because it's time to go. So if you consider that physiological need, the child needs to be well rested. If they're hungry, they're thinking about, I need a snack. I don't want to be out on the training floor. Blood sugar's all off. They don't have the nourishment they need to build those muscles to really get the mind working, because the mind uses a tremendous amount of energy. We're constantly burning calories and using ATP in our mental processes. So if we're not fulfilling that, if a child is thirsty in class, that's a physiological need. Now, granted, we want to try to get the kids to have the perseverance to push through a little bit, but we also want to keep in mind that in the child's perspective, that is the most important thing in the world to them at that particular moment. If they're thirsty, they're not going to focus on anything until they either get that drink or somehow get redirected away from that immediate need. Now, once we can fulfill these needs, now hopefully the parents are on board with this and feeding their children and making sure that they're well rested. And, we've all had parents that maybe aren't on board with what we're doing, but these are very basic things to parenting. Now, don't be surprised if not all your kids are. So parents doesn't come with a manual, right? I have kids, didn't come with a book. Fortunately, I had great parents myself that I could say, Mom, Dad, what am I doing here? So sometimes parents, as much as we think like, oh, of course they're giving their kid a snack and making sure they're well rested, they don't always know. Not everybody has access to great pediatricians or life coaches, parenting coaches, like we do. So once we fulfilled those needs and worked with parents and coached them like, hey, make sure little Johnny wakes up 15 to 20 minutes or gets his nap a little earlier so that he's really in peak shape. Jeff Burrows says, I lost our manual. Man, just having had one, you're a step up on me. I still don't know what I'm doing, right? Within those basic needs as well. Hey, David, what's up, man? Oh, now I'm on the spot. Man, David is one of my role models. I watch him, and I want a lot of the things that he has, not because I'm jealous of them, because I love what he built. So if you guys need a school to watch his. There's my little plug for my friends, right? So within those basic needs also, taking it to the next level, are just safety needs, security needs. A child craves love and attention, and, they need peace of mind. When that child comes into your school for the first time and they're hiding behind mommy. Why are they hiding behind mommy? Because mommy's safe zone. It may have roots in other things that we could kind of work on and bring out, but we need to understand that the reason they're doing that is because not they're shy, not they're nervous, not they're scared, but because intrinsically they crave safety. They're well fed, they're well rested, they got awesome clothes on. They come in and they see something that's a little scary, a little out of the ordinary. Instinctively, they look for security, they look for safety. That's behind mom's leg. Mom keeps them safe, right? So how do we coax that child out onto the training floor? Well, we need to satisfy the same needs that mom's leg is satisfying. It sounds kind of weird when you put it that way, but I need to provide an atmosphere where the child feels safe. My school is a perfect example. We're doing some changes in my school because when I opened it, I had this vision of this big mega school with huge adult program and kickboxing, and I was going to do it all. And now I am, kids. That's what I do. I still have my other programs, but kids is what I do. I found my spot. However, when I built my school, I built it for the aesthetic and the atmosphere of an adult. So now I need to go make some changes. Take away sharp edges. Make sure that, surfaces are appropriate to kids. Make sure that they know that if they spill something, they're not going to ruin this tapestry that I have on the wall. It's going to be okay. We clean it up. They might not understand that logically, but they feel it. They know when they're in a child-safe, child-friendly environment. That's what helps me get them out from behind mom's leg. And there's other things you can do for that, bonding with them, stop being a stranger. Don't be the big bad martial artist. To that, one of the best investments we ever made in our school, we didn't even make it at first. I wanted to throw it away. We got these foam blocks that, somebody gave us. And I was like, what are we going to do with that? I don't want that in the school. It looks horrible. That has become one of our most important tools, especially for our younger kids. It's not now, let's go to the martial arts school and you're going to try martial arts and you got to do martial arts. People are going to throw pads and kick and punch. And it's, let's go play blocks with Miss Heidi. Miss Heidi is amazing. I like playing blocks with Miss Heidi. It's relaxing. It just gets me in the mood. And Miss Heidi is now the safe person. I can now hide behind Miss Heidi's leg. Well, where's Miss Heidi's leg? Oh, it's out on the training floor. Let's go. So I've satisfied this base level of intrinsic things that we don't even think about, that I've connected on such an innate level. Now, that child will allow me to address the next level of the pyramid, which Maslow called it their psychological needs. And I'm just referencing my notes here so I don't mess this up. Your psychological needs is now that child feels safe, he feels good, his body is ready to go, he feels safe and secure, and he's in the right spot at the right time with the right people. Now what does he want? He wants to be accepted by those people. He needs to feel as comfortable with the people as he did with the safety of the environment. So he needs to make sure, or we need to make sure, that it's not an intimidating environment. When I opened my first school, it was beautiful. It was this big 3D temple facade and weapons on the walls, and yeah, they're shiny and cool, but as I look back, that was probably terrifying to little kids. So I have to make sure the environment is friendly, that the kids in class are brought up in a culture of, hey, this is not, oh, the new kid. It's, oh, wow, somebody new. Let me go introduce myself. So not only am I teaching manners and showing value to, the parents and my customers or my clients, David says, and to moms, absolutely. Moms look with that mom's eye. Team Perella talks about that a lot. Have a mom walk through your school and point out everything that's wrong with it. You'll see things you never even imagined. So I want to make sure that I'm creating a culture of well-mannered kids who welcome newcomers. Now, working within stages of development can kind of either work against me or work for me there, depending on ages we're talking about. But there are ways to do it. And I need to create friendships. Kids at that age don't create friendships the same way adults do. The kid they like is their friend. What's your friend's name? I don't know. It doesn't matter to them so much as how they feel being around that person. So we need to make sure that we're always encouraging, not necessarily from us, but from those in the school, that welcoming atmosphere, that, give hugs. I mean, in the old days, it was, I am Sifu and you are the student. And now, man, I have this one little boy, Alex. I don't even teach him. He's in Heidi's class, and he comes in and knows that he is my high five buddy. He does not give anybody high fives before I get them, and I get the last ones on the way out. And now I get hugs from him, and that's something that wouldn't happen. He feels psychologically and physiologically safe and welcomed. That's connection. Now, once they feel welcome, they're here, they're in class, they're doing a good job. The next level, it kind of gets into more of the surface of the psychology. And now we're talking about things like self-esteem, prestige, ego. They know they're doing good, recognition. So once they're in and doing well and feeling safe and have friends, now we start to recognize them. And if you go through the stages of development, or you take one of the instructor certification courses, which I highly recommend, even if you're not a Skillz school, you'll learn a lot about different ways to encourage kids, to show them that they're doing a good job. Not every age group takes praise the same way, and that's a whole subject on its own. But make sure, find their successes, discover them, even if they're not in class. I always try to catch my students being good. I stalk the parents' Facebook pages to find out, little Johnny won an award at school. You watch how that becomes the center of class, right? So now I'm working, it's up on the surface, but I can only build that connection. Hey, little Johnny, I saw you made honor roll. That is fantastic. I'm so proud of you. They won't care at all unless I fulfilled all those things underneath. Now, here's where we start to make the mistake. At the tip of the pyramid is what Maslow talked about, self-actualization. And really what he talks about there started to get a little bit into even religious and spirituality, which I try to keep that out of my school as a general rule. But he talked about when you can start to see things outside of yourself. So, in Skillz, we talk about intrinsic motivation and getting somebody to see the benefit of a technique, not for the technique, but for what that technique helps me do. We say, let me just pick a quick example. Tonight we did agility. Agility is very important for martial artists because it helps us have fast footwork. It helps us change direction very quickly, and work with a spar. We go on and on about agility as a martial artist, but I can also take that and say agility can also work for your mind. When somebody comes and introduces you to a new situation and you have to think quickly and make quick decisions, you have to do it easily because you've gathered all the information, and I can make snap decisions that are good decisions. That's mental agility. So it's something that's outside of me, something that I can envision myself doing, and I say it's important to you as a martial artist because, and I give them the why. So this is self-actualization, and it talks about finding my potential. How can I fulfill my potential? Now, if I take a student who's so busy hiding behind behind mommy's leg, that just woke up from a nap, hasn't had snack, is terrified to be there, doesn't know anybody, has no friends, is a little bit lacking in self-esteem because they've never accomplished anything in their life, and they come to me and I say, "Little Johnny, I'm going to make you a movie star." What does that mean to them? Nothing. They're so shut down physically and psychologically, and they're not even listening to you. How are you making connection? By getting down eye to eye and saying, "I believe in you." They don't care. Now, they hear it and it does make a difference, and we should always try to be positive. However, if I look all the way down that pyramid, anything that's coming through as what we used to call maladaptive behavior, and nowadays we just call it adaptive, because we don't have bad kids. We have kids that don't know how to reach certain goals and they're struggling through it, right? This is why we have what we would call the negative behavior. I can now look at that negative behavior and make a connection with why that child might be going through that at the moment. Not because, they see themselves as being the tough kid. No, that's way up here. It's because they didn't get enough sleep last night. Now, that's a very simplified explanation, but you can see how the deeper I make that connection with the student, the more effect I will have. And when I can build on a solid foundation where that child not only knows up here, but knows here and knows on the inside, just intrinsically, that I am the one that fulfills those needs, not to supplant parents, but to supplement them. Now I've created connection. And the parents will see that. And now, the other half of my job, teach the parent how to do it. Because they'll only see so much value in their child experiencing all this if their child goes home and has the same challenges, right? I need to be able to work with my parents to help them bring about the same connections between themselves and their children before they become teenagers, hopefully. So that's my little bit tonight. If you want to learn more about Maslow, look him up. It's all over the place. Anything to do with early childhood development or modern psychology. Maslow is Maslow. And I see Miss Heidi just joined the conversation. So a huge shout out to her for introducing me to this knowledge. I get to be the lead instructor, but I learned so much from my team and from my students. So shout out to her for that and for pointing me in a direction where I could research and improve myself. So that's what I have. If you have questions, I'm more than happy to answer. I'm sure Miss Heidi there will like to jump in and answer. I'm sure she's excited about what she's learning. She actually went back to school for early childhood development, which is great because she teaches mini, early, and basic skills better than I do. All right. So you guys have a great night. If you have any questions, like I said, pop it in the comments. Shoot me an email, mike@4gkskills.com. Give me a call, message, smoke signals, send me a paper airplane. I don't know. Whatever. I'm tired. All right. Have a great night, guys.